What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to Homebrew Subaru. In this episode, I'm going to be taking my wagon for the last auto vlog ever. So like I've mentioned in the past, I will be retiring my Impreza GF wagon. The body is rotten really bad on it. It's something I've kind of wanted to replace for quite some time. Kind of waited for a car to pop up and it finally did. So over this winter I will be trying to strip the parts off the car and put them onto the other one that I bought. But today we're just going to basically go for a drive and talk about a lot of that, the planning behind it, and the kind of time frame that I'm thinking about. Probably add on a couple more months because I'm always late with my time frames, but just literally just go for a drive in the car and talk about what the plan is with that one and the newer red Impreza that I bought. It won't be too long of an episode, and it's just more me going to be blabbing my lips off about what I think I'm going to be doing. So hope you guys can enjoy it. We're just going to come down here to the shore. It's a pretty quiet spot. Now you can actually see how close to the water I am. Just gonna take this little spot over here by this sign. You guys can kind of have a look at the water. So yeah, sometimes recording becomes a very big pain in the ass. Basically, we just drove around for like 15 minutes. Me talking to the cameras, pulled up here, said, oh, I'll just pull up to the water here and have a look at the boats out in the water, and I look over and the camera's not recording. Like when you hit the button and it goes beep and the red light starts flashing, usually means it's recording. But for whatever reason, that camera decided not to record. So I'm gonna have to kind of redo this over. So here we are down at the shore. I've got my coffee. We were at McDonald's. I ranted on how shitty that Tim Hortons coffee is, and I haven't drank this stuff in like 8 years, 10 years or something. So yeah, basically, this is like kind of the last auto vlog for this car. I love this car. It's not something that I actually wanted to get rid of at any point. I knew it was going to happen at some day because when I bought the car, it was extremely rotten. It was basically just to replace another Impreza wagon that I put off the road. That car was also a little bit rotted. So really it's just some mechanical parts that I've been swapping from chassis to chassis. And now this one has gotten to the point where it's getting pretty rotten. Like the rear quarters are starting to come back through. I did them like 3 years ago. The rear bumper support is, ready to rot off the car. If I got rear-ended, it would be a bad scene. So it's time to put this guy to bed. Things that are going to end up coming off this car is a lot. The engine, transmission, rear diff, they're all coming out. All the brake calipers will come off of it because they've all been replaced. Suspension, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to leave it. I can't really get the car taken away from my house if it doesn't have, if it's not a rolling chassis. I mean, I can get some guys to drag it up onto their flatbed, but I'd rather just have a rolling chassis and get rid of it. The rear suspension's kind of getting to the point where it's, you know, it's weak, and it's getting closer to the point, you know, I'd think about replacing it anyway. It's 6 years old. It's been put through a lot of abuse. The fronts have the same amount of mileage, but I don't hear any problems, and I don't see any signs of leaks or damage or anything. So the fronts could actually be reusable. They are actually swappable to a GD chassis, but I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to leave them. So, I mean, there's going to be some parts that are going to be worth something to somebody on the car, but other things like the headlights, the corner lights, the fog lamps, the tail lights, the rear spoiler, all that stuff's going to come off. It's going to go into a box. If someone has a GF car that they want those parts for, then I'll just sell it all to them cheap. Any of you guys are interested in parts, hit me up. Just leave a comment down below, and then I'll try and reach out to you somehow, or DM me on Instagram is probably the easiest way. Interior wise, the gauges will come out. I'm not sure what I'm going to use them for, if they'll go into the new car or not. The head unit will come out. It's probably going to go into the 240. It's a double DIN head unit, Kenwood, but I've got a little different, something different coming for the newer Impreza. The instrument cluster is gonna come out. It's a European WRX instrument cluster, so it's white face gauge, but it's only in kilometers per hour. Really, other than that, the seats I think may go into the other car, because they're still really good shape. The wheels, of course, are going to be swapped over in the summertime. And, I mean, other than that, just like, not a whole lot else. But this basically is my last week with the car. Later in the week, after I get off work one day, I'm going to go and get plates and insurance for the red one and start planning on driving it. I've basically got my less than a quarter tank of gas in this thing, so I'll probably drive it till the end of the week, and then not transfer, but I'll just put insurance and plates on the other car, and then I'll start driving it every day. Something I've kind of wanted to jump into. This car is good, like, it makes great heat, and defrost works great. This window, I've got to open the door and hold down on the window for it to go down. Obviously the regulator's not catching its teeth, it's hopping in there. To get it go all the way up, I've actually got to pull it. Once it gets to the top, I've got to pull it up. So the driver's window's a pain in the ass. The car leaks a little bit of water. The rear hatch is leaking. The rear taillight area, it's very common on GFs. Really, other than that though, I mean, the car is really drivable. I could certainly put it through the winter. It's just I don't really want to. I want to get a start on other things. I've got too many cars. It breaks my heart to get rid of this thing and throw it away, but there's no sense in me trying to hold on to it even for the winter. I mean, I might as well just start driving the other one. So I guess because we missed the drive like earlier, that I guess we're gonna go for another drive now, and it won't be a very long drive. I'm just gonna basically drive up Main Street, or Third Avenue is what we call it. But anyways, we'll just go for a quick little drive, end this vlog, and we'll say goodbye. Still recording? All right. Take the same loop that I took earlier, then we'll head for a drive down the highway. it's a very, very gloomy day. I guess it rained and everyone stayed in today because town is pretty dead today. I also kind of wonder about the exhaust. Like, I might have to make some changes to the exhaust to get it to fit the other car. I know the catback section should just bolt onto the car, but the actual downpipe might need a small modification to get around the subframe. I'm not quite sure yet. Really gonna have to wait until I go to install it to see what changes might need to be made. But like the exhaust on this car is certainly being reused. That was kind of the plan when I bought the exhaust and fitted it to the car. Because it's not like a really expensive high performance exhaust. Very similar to what I did for the 240 recently, is just basically buying exhaust parts that fit the brand and then making them work, cutting them and welding them together to make it work. So the rear section really didn't really even need any modification, and but the downpipe I made a couple of cuts and adjustments to it, so for sure it's going to need some changes. The car is overboosting. I don't know why. It's going above 5. It's getting to like almost 8 psi. And of course my check valves for my airway, they are not ready to relieve that amount of pressure. So I have to address that when it goes into the other car. It doesn't always happen. It's usually a third gear pull that'll happen. And I look down at my boost gauge and it's like hovering between 8 and 9, which I've only rated this thing for about 5 psi. So I really don't know why I'm getting overboost, but it's fun and it stays rich. We'll give one more romp here, then I'll head home. I love this. I really do love this application. I hope it's as fun in the other Impreza. You know, taking an NA car and then basically modifying it into something it's not. It's been a big adventure, let's just say that, to say the least. So getting this engine to actually run in the other car, it's going to require some changes. I'm not 100% sure about all of them yet. One thing I do know is that car doesn't have a hood scoop, so using the top mount intercooler isn't really going to be the best idea. I could probably use it, but I'll have to start looking for a front mount intercooler kit that will be cheap and bolt onto the car. I should be able to find something somewhere. And other than that, I don't think there's really going to be anything I really need to change. I've got everything else, so it's just a matter of swapping it all over, which of course takes time. So here I am back on my street, and I'll just pull up in the house and end the video. And that's that. This is the last time that I will be filming this car driving. After this week, it will be off the road until it can come into my garage and I can start stripping the parts I want off of it. That'll definitely make for a few videos. That won't be for quite some time though. Want to at least get the point where the 240 can be pulled in and out of the garage easy enough. And I've got a few other things I need to do, like the steel rims that I got with the other car. I want to mount some really bad tires onto those steel rims so that I can put them onto this car so it can actually roll, because I won't want those steel rims. And then yeah, just make sure that I can, when this thing drives in, that I get everything I want off of it and have enough room to store it before the red Impreza comes in to actually have that stuff swapped over. And at that time I have to have another vehicle to drive. I've got more vehicles. The Forester, I can always put insurance on it and start driving it. Probably just needs a battery. I'll probably take the battery out of this one and save it for the Forester, I think. The BMW, I really need to get the BMW figured out. I haven't spent any time on it. The weather's been horrible, so that's been a bit of a pain in the ass, but I really need to get the time spent on it to get it started and running. I don't plan on driving the car anymore, but it's something I still need to do. And then the 240, if it ever got to the point where I could put insurance back on it and you know, drive the car, then at least when the red Impreza comes in, I've got something to drive, right? But this is all months down the road. It's going to be after the winter. I'm going to really concentrate on getting the 240 finished, and there may be a couple little side jobs over the winter as long as the 240 is able to drive in and out, because it'll probably stay in the garage most of the time. The really frosty mornings through the winter, because we get a lot of rain through the winter and it's actually, the temperatures aren't too bad, but those really chill days, I'm probably going to plan on pulling the 240 out and putting the Impreza inside so that I don't have to deal with ice-covered windows in the morning. Aside from that, I think that's it for this video. We'll just say a final goodbye to the Impreza. Goodbye, Impreza. It's been a good haul for the 6 years that I owned you. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here and you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button for me. Leave your questions and comments further down below, and I'll see you in the next one.